Hey guys, I'm Hayden. Welcome back to Fitness Tested. Today, I'm gonna be telling you guys all about the Puma FAST-R NITRO Elite 3. So start with a little backstory here. Last summer, I heard about the shoe because Puma had a lot of pro athletes into their Utah lab to test this shoe. They had a bunch of pro runners in, had them test their favorite marathon shoe versus the Puma FAST-R, and I think 95% of the time the FAST-R performed better than their favorite marathon shoe. So that really sparked something to me. I was like, wow, like Puma? Because Puma really wasn't on the kind of high-end running shoe scene yet. So hearing that news was like, wow, okay. Fast forward, this was last summer. Fast forward to the fall, I kept hearing things about it. Rory Linkletter, who's a pro runner for Puma, he placed top 5 in a major, and so with the FAST-Rs on, and so I was kind of like, okay, these shoes might be legit, and I kept hearing more and more about it. I watched Supwell's video on the FAST-R, and I was like, this thing might be legit, and so I've been trying to get my hands on this shoe probably since last fall, and I haven't been able to because they've just released them in very limited quantities. And I was finally able to get my hands on them, which is so frustrating because it's like, I'm trying to give you my $300 and you don't want to take it because like you're releasing them in limited quantities. I'm trying to give you my money for this shoe. It's the same thing as like Nike when they like release a new Alphafly or Vaporfly. It's like they barely release any models. I'm not able to get my hands on a pair. It's like, Nike, I'm trying to give you my money to get this shoe and you're not letting me. Anywho, regardless. So I was able to get my hands on the shoe. And man, oh man, I'll tell you guys, it is unreal. All the hype around this shoe is everything I thought it was and more. I have done a few track workouts in these guys. I've done a longer steady state, and it is just so responsive. So let's break down why. So first and foremost, the shoe really transcends the geometry of racing shoes. I think in 2020, Nike came out obviously with the Vaporfly and the Alphafly, and that changed racing shoes with the carbon plate scene and the Zoom X foam. Since then, there hasn't really been a ton of upgrades, and I think this is the kind of big upgrade in the racing shoe game. The shoe has 2 main like foam units. So it has this back unit right here, and it has this front unit. And underneath is the plate. You can see a lot of exposed plate here. And so what these 2 units does is it allows the energy to transfer from one foam unit to another much more smoothly than just one. So most super shoes they just have one normal foam unit running throughout the shoe, and the energy tends to decimate with a 1 foam long shoe. And this 2 unit shoe, the energy kind of moves through the shoe much better. The plate is a lot more flexible than a lot of other models because it needs to be with the 2 unit. Plates can be a lot more rigid if there's just one foam unit running along. So this plate is definitely more flexible and dynamic, which I actually liked. The main thing for me is just the toe off sensation. From, I would say, like here to here in the stride is just incredible. It literally feels like a Tom and Jerry spring, the way it springs me up. It's incredible. I feel the plate really, or not even the plate, the geometry really working hard to deliver me from here to here. So it's like normal super shoes, I would say. It's like you kind of condense, you go through the plate, and then it kind of springs you off. This is like you take the energy you put in back here, and it just flows right through the shoe. So for stats of this shoe, it's a 40 millimeter stack, 32 in the forefoot, giving it an 8 millimeter drop. It comes in at 170 grams, which is feather light. In comparison, an Alphafly 3 is 198 grams, which is already a very light shoe to begin with. The men's Vaporfly is 168 grams, which is a little bit lighter than this, but you also have to keep in mind the Vaporfly is a lower stack shoe, so that's why it is a bit lighter, because it has a lot less stack. But this guy does come in at $300, so it's going to be in your normal kind of price range of super shoes nowadays. I feel like the more energy I put into the shoe to try and run fast, the more energy I get out of it. So the faster I'm trying to run, it gives me more. So I did a few track workouts in this guy on my indoor track, on my indoor 200 meter track. And my coach probably isn't a big fan of this because it kind of flared up my calf. My second workout in these shoes on the indoor track. I think it had a little bit to do with I was turning so much because I was on a bank 200, but these things work your calves just so hard because it puts so much dependence on like this part of the foot that it really works your calf when you're running. So just keep that in mind. If you do get a pair, make sure your calves are up to standard. Make sure you really ease into it because I think it works your calves crazy hard, but that's the drawback for this being such an aggressive shoe. I wore them for my steady state a couple weeks ago and they were great. Like this shoe is definitely meant for the roads. It's not great turning and going side to side, but just going straight on the road on a clear path, it's incredible. I can see why there's so much hype around the shoe. I'll definitely keep using it for my track workouts, especially when I get on the outdoor track. It's much less tight turns, but the roads is definitely where this shoe shines. Okay, so I've talked about things I like about the FAST-R. Let's get into some disadvantages. So I think with the aggressive heel shape, if you do have a hard heel strike, I think it's probably gonna maybe be a little bit too unstable for you. I would say midfoot and forefoot strikers are gonna really do well in the shoe because that's where it shines, is right in here. But the heel is a bit unstable in terms of the shape if you are a hard heel striker. So I would be wary of that. It's very uncomfortable at slower paces. It's like, this is a Ferrari. Like, you can't drive 20 miles an hour in a Ferrari. If you get in a Ferrari, you wanna go fast. And so I like anything under, anything under over like 530 pace is like, for me is like, oh, like I'm trying to go faster. Like this is giving me more energy to go faster. It's asking me to go faster and give it more energy because it's so springy. So that's where I was like, I can't use it for stuff faster than that or stuff slower than that, which I wouldn't anyway. For what you should use this shoe for, I've gone back and forth. Obviously, I've never done a marathon. Throwback to the marathon tips video with me and Jacob where I said I haven't even ran a marathon. But I've never ran a marathon. I've heard from a lot of people that have that this shoe is almost too aggressive for that. I think for some of the pros that are trying to run 5-minute miles in a marathon, this shoe is kind of necessary because you need so much energy just from your shoe if you're trying to run that fast. But I think in general, I don't know if this is good for a marathon because it's so aggressive. Like I think it would make me go way too fast in the early miles and have me burn up. And so I think this shoe is dang near perfect for anything from like a road 5K up to like a half. You could even go lower than a road 5K. Like I think this is very comparable to the Streakfly 2, but there's just more stack height there. Like it's 40 millimeter instead of what is the Streakfly 2, 28 millimeter. So you can just do so much more in it. And it gives me almost more energy return than the Streakfly 2 does. Like I think the Streakfly 2 is perfect if you're on an indoor track and like you need some stability because you're turning a bunch. But this gives me more energy return than the Streakfly 2 when I'm trying to run 430 pace for a mile. When I'm trying to run that fast, when I'm trying to run 60s for a 400, this is still giving me enough energy I need, which is just incredible for a 40 millimeter stack shoe. It should not, like, this is like a cheat code in my opinion. There's not a shoe that's 40 millimeters that should give me enough for what I need to run 60 flat pace or 60 seconds for a 400. So I cannot say enough good things about this shoe. Previously, my favorite all-time shoe was the Alphafly 1. I think that and the Vaporfly was the first big revelation in racing shoes. I just loved the Alphafly 1 because of the toe-off sensation with the Zoom pods. I think this is my new favorite shoe. So today I talked all about the Puma FAST-R NITRO Elite 3. Also, that's a mouthful too. Puma, if we can shorten the name a little bit. I had to look up what in the order I had to say for it because I could have said like Puma NITRO Elite FAST-R 3. So if we could shorten the name a little bit, make it a little easier on me. But thank you guys for watching. I had a blast talking about this shoe. I love this shoe. I can't say enough good things about it. So if you guys want to see more content like this, go to the Fitness Sports YouTube page and we're going to keep cranking out more videos like this, give you guys content you want. I'm Hayden. This was Fitness Tested. Thank you guys for learning about the Puma FAST-R NITRO Elite 3 with me, and I'll see you guys in the next video.